welcome back to another episode of What Was That Podcast. I'm Jazzy.
And I'm Addi.
Addi's finally back from her road trip. How was it?
Well, first things first, I do need to rescind what I said about Memphis on the previous episode. Memphis is literally one of the coolest cities I've ever been to.
Love that. That's great. How about the rest of Tennessee?
It was fine. I was stuck in some pretty unfortunate and uncomfortable circumstances. I would say that Q got the super short end of the stick. There were some pretty rough run-ins with the mother-in-claws.
I'm sorry, what?
You know, the mother-in-law, except she has claws because she's mean.
Are you talking about your stepmom?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
I can confirm.
Well, let's run with that and talk about some other mother-in-claws. Story 1. My insane mother-in-law started walking around the house naked after seeing me and my husband having sex in the shower.
Okay. We could do like 8 episodes on just mother-in-law stories. Like, there's a whole subreddit called like Mother-in-Law from Hell or something.
Yeah.
And that's where 3 of the 4 stories are from.
Ooh,
So,
I was like, maybe it's fine. I'll just stay single.
yeah, blessed to have my mother-in-law. So, she's awesome.
Hi, everyone. I got a lot of comments, I think, from some of you from my relationship post. As last night was invited over here to share my story with all of you. Here's a text from last night. I'm at my wit's end. I'm seriously on the verge of leaving my own house if things don't get better, and I really can't take much more. My husband and I have been married for a year, dated for 8. Part of the reason it took us so long to get married, I think, was because of his mother. She pretends to like me and treat me decently in front of him, but you know when someone is just pretending to be nice? Yeah, that's her. My husband has seen her true colors when we first started dating, but about 6 months into our marriage, we were able to be civil and
Cordial.
to each other. I didn't know I couldn't say that word. Recently, his mom had surgery that requires long-term physical therapy. After crying and moaning over just not being able to manage, my husband finally invited her to live with us temporarily without consulting me first.
Oof.
Of course, she's over the moon and has decidedly made our home her home. She's messy to a fault and then blames me for it, clingy with my husband, barges into our room without knocking first, interrupts conversations, and so on. It's grating. The shit show hit the proverbial fan. My mother-in-law was supposed to be out for dinner with a friend of hers, so the husband and I decided to have some much-needed alone time, seeing as we hadn't had much since his mother has intruded on our lives. Girl, why are you going to say it like that? To spare you the squishier details, you could just say
the details.
yeah, okay. Good for you guys. We were having sex in the shower when his mother, who was supposed to be out, burst through the door and let out an ear-splitting scream loud enough to shatter glass. Of course, we immediately stopped. No, you kept going.
What? That's not gonna be
You got 2 options. But she kept screaming, eventually throwing towels at us to cover up and that we were indecent in a Christian home. She literally stood there and watched us wrap the towels around ourselves before she flouts out of the bathroom in fake sobs. I was mortified and apologized right away and said I'm sorry for having to see what she saw, but we hadn't expected her home. She put on her fake nice act and said that it was all fine and that she grossly overreacted to the situation. All good. Yesterday I came home and I discovered her topless in my living room. I was really thrown for a loop and asked her what the hell she was doing. And she told me that seeing us the other day made her realize that nudity was natural. And that she used to be naked around her kids back in the day. I asked her to please cover up, and she told me she wasn't offended by my nudity that she witnessed, and that her state shouldn't bother me either. My husband is pretending that nothing is wrong, saying that his mom will change tactics and let it go once she sees it isn't getting a reaction. But now she's going out of her way to be affectionate with him and myself, with unnecessary hugs and touching and whatnot, literally flaunting herself. We feel like we're prisoners in our own home and stay confined to the bedroom with the door locked to avoid seeing her. Every time I see her now, I feel sick with rage, and she just smirks while commenting on how free she feels without her clothing. I've told my husband time and time again to deal with the situation, but he says to ignore it and it'll go away. I'm on the verge of throwing all of her shit straight onto the lawn. I'm at the end of my rope. In somewhat of an update, I exploded at my husband last night. Crying, shouting, the full ugly meltdown. Wine may be a contributor to this. The clincher. I left the room to put my laundry in the dryer, and I saw my mother-in-law naked, using her injured arm to rummage through our pantry for food. She's been faking being barely able to use that arm. The gauntlet has been thrown. It's me or her. My husband has sworn that he loves me and that our mother-in-law will be out of the house within the next couple days, as soon as he can make other arrangements for her. In the meantime, I have packed a bag and left for my sisters. I refused to look at my mother-in-law or otherwise acknowledge her existence as I left, despite her persistent and gleeful questioning about where I was going, despite seeing my bag. I knew she was crazy, but I didn't know crazy reached these depths. I feel uncertain, anxious, and just so upset. I hate her. I resent my husband for bringing her into our lives like this. This is not the right answer, but I'm like, be naked back.
Yeah, 100%.
I like, so we're all naked in here. I would be like eagle spray with a bowl of chips. I mean, I have some lots of this.
Yeah, I'm gonna get your chips on it right here.
Right here. I'm sorry. You talked to her about it. She's not reasonable. Also,
Who goes into the bathroom? I have to remember to lower my voice so it's not screeching in the microphone. Who goes into the bathroom while they hear a shower running? First of all, because even if they weren't having sex,
right.
you want to see your son naked?
No.
You want to see your daughter-in-law naked?
No.
Why the fuck are you going in the shower? That's
Right.
weird. That's weird. That's a weird thing to start off. But yeah, to go in there and then stand there and be like, for them to
shame on you. Put a towel on.
Hey, yeah, I see where you get your growth from. That's all your father right there.
Your father was a saint. He passed it on to you.
Oh
clearly.
my god. Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine being in a situation where I'm in the shower with my partner and then their mom comes in. Because if it was me and him, God, I hate imagining this, but imagining his mom walking in, she'd be like, "Oh my god," and shut the door.
Right.
And it would never be talked about ever again.
Normal people would leave and never talk about it.
No, it would be off the table. No one's ever bringing it up. It's not even a thought in anyone's mind. That's it. That's all it is.
No.
It happens.
The only thought of it will be every now and then, every 7 months, where you just can't go to sleep and you're like, dear God.
Yeah,
That's it.
Think about it, and then they're also laying in bed thinking about it.
Dear God.
Yeah. But yeah, this mom just I feel like she was waiting for the opportunity to just because this is enmeshment, right? I feel like this is pretty clearly enmeshment. She's like, oh, I used to be naked around my kids all the time, and it's okay, well, first of all, they're not kids anymore.
Right.
This is a grown man with a wife in the house, and I feel like, and maybe this is a hot take, but I feel like the guy's kind of a pussy for not saying anything immediately.
I feel like I've seen in these type of stories a lot where the guy will just kind of ignore it, that's just mom.
That's mom.
Ma's a saint. That's just mom.
That's my mom. I sucked from my teat until I was 8 years old. What do you want from me?
You want me to tell my mom? No, I
can't tell my mama. No, mommy is the best. Mommy still gives me breast milk when I ask for it. I love the tit.
That's why she was coming in.
Yeah, exactly. She was here for feeding time. And that's why her tits are out now, because she's easy access.
Right.
Easy access for Robert or whatever its name is.
This fucking fuck.
Yeah,
Oh my
can't
God.
imagine that. I would throw an absolute. I would have thrown a fit from the get go.
I would have thrown a
from
fit
the get
from
go.
the get.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a hey, ignore it. It'll go away. She's just wanting a reaction. I'd be like,
No.
okay, she wants a reaction. Sure, I'm giving her one, but I'm also giving
You're one.
Right.
And I expect you to resolve this because in no way, shape, or form is your mom, a grown woman, walking around my house naked.
Right. Out of spite.
Yeah, out of spite. Any sort of acceptable thing. Like, that's,
Right.
it crosses so many boundaries. Not only did she cross a boundary by coming into a place where the door was shut and we were in the shower, the
Right.
bathroom, a private place where people go for private time, they're shitting, showering, whatever you're
Right.
doing. Like, she came in there knowing what she was doing, violated our privacy, and now she's continuing to violate our privacy by flaunting her fucking whole naked ass and tits out in the house.
Right.
Yeah. No, that would be
Talk to your mother, dude.
gross.
Here, talk to your mother.
There is an update that I just saw, actually. Update!
Let's dive in. Okay. Let me make it bigger. Hold on, I have bad eyes. Update: topless mother-in-law has snapped. Yes, I live. First of all, I want to give all the people that commented on my last post and sent me nice messages a huge internet hug. Thank you guys for listening to me rant, rave, bitch, etc. I had my sister and my family. It was something else to talk to ladies that have actually been through insanity of having a twisted mother-in-law. I'm not going to lie, it's been a rough couple of months. I'll start with this. After I told the DH.
My dear husband?
Like divorced husband.
Maybe divorced husband.
Ooh.
Ooh. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm assuming husband, but
Fill us in if you know what this means. After I told my DH that I wanted mother-in-law out of my house, he swore with his fist to the sky that she'd be gone. He followed through. Bitch was out of my house. Okay. Sat DH down and we had a very candid discussion on mother-in-law and her insane fucking behavior. He agreed that what she did was 100% not okay and surprisingly agreed that we needed couples counseling to deal with mother-in-law and the wedge she tried to drive between us and with her insane behavior. I tried to get him to commit to individual therapy, but he adamantly refused. He said that he had no need for it and had come to terms with how his mom had affected him, but wanted to work through on how it was impacting us. Okay, baby steps. DH refused to go no contact with mother-in-law, but they were low contact with one another. This was how DH received an invitation with mother-in-law to attend a semi-annual family vacation at the family college further up north. Mother-in-law wrote an earnest email that I was BCC'd on. What does BCC stand
blind
for?
copied.
Yeah.
I mean, she was added to the email, but she was blind copied so nobody
No one
can
could
see.
see
Yeah,
that
nobody
she
can
was.
see
Yeah.
that she was on there. That's crazy.
Because I know I BCC people, but I'm like, I don't know what this means.
Yeah, BCC is blind copy.
Wow. Okay. I was BCC'd to DH and myself about how much she wanted to see us there and that she really wanted to see me, the beauty of their family, that she really wanted me to see the beauty of their family plot, blah, blah, blah. No mention of an apology to me, just that she was looking forward to seeing me. I immediately smelled a trap and told DH that I would not be attending this gathering. DH insisted, saying that family is family, and that given the time lapse between him evicting mother-in-law and the vacation, maybe some wounds could be healed. I considered making this another hill to die on, but after we ran the idea by our counselor, he encouraged the idea, as well as DH telling me that the other family would be there. I gave in. I could easily avoid mother-in-law with 4 people in attendance, right?
4 people? I was
4
thinking
people.
like 20.
Right. I was like, yeah, this is a family
reunion.
gathering.
Yeah.
No, this is like you're visiting your parents' house. Oh, how wrong I was. The way this was set up is that DH's father owned a large plot of land and built 2 houses on it. One is the main house and the other is the guest house. Seeing how DH's younger sister is married and has 2 boys, it was decided, without my decision, that my sister-in-law and her family would stay at the guest house, myself, DH,
Brother-in-law.
thank you. I was like, Bill, brother-in-law and mother-in-law would stay in the main house. Folks, this is where shit gets wild. The second she saw me, mother-in-law completely lashed out to my husband, proclaiming at the damn near top of her lungs how unnatural it was that a son should be kept from his mother. how evil it is when Satan is at work in a family. She didn't let go of him the entire evening. And here's the clincher. She put myself and DH in a room with 2 separate beds.
Oh my god.
Fuck on both of them. Like, okay. Fuck that noise, lady. I was not going to be playing her game this time. Nope. From that day on, I made a point to be extra affectionate to my husband. Sat on his lap, held his hand, kissed him, hugged him, the works. I could see mother-in-law's head practically ready to explode with each embrace and every nice word we exchanged to each other. We both ignored her side remarks and were pleasant and polite to her. For a moment, I thought we had almost won the war. Until she woke us up the next morning fucking topless.
This woman is unhinged. She is also in love with her son.
Yeah.
Unhinged.
Why do you keep showing your son your tats? Like,
Yeah, right? She's like, look at these babies. You miss them? Yeah, you miss these?
that's so weird. That's right. This insane, crazy bitch decided the best way to get our motherfucking attention was to once again disrobe herself. She opened our blinds, sweetly going on and on about how beautiful it was to be natural in her home in the wilderness, while clearly ignoring how uncomfortable DH was and his requests for her to cover up. I repeat, she literally pretended like she didn't even hear him. My time of reckoning was at hand. As soon as she left the room, I asked DH to please take his brother-in-law somewhere, anywhere but the house. It was time for mother-in-law and I to have a conversation. As soon as I saw their rental car leave the driveway, I put my plan into motion. Bitch wanted to be one with nature? So did I. I stripped right down to nothing. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Marched myself into her living room, where she was now wearing a stupid fuzzy pink robe, and planted myself right next to her on the couch. This is what I'm saying.
Yep.
Friend, she lost her motherfucking mind. She screamed, asking me what in God's name I was doing, and that I was disgusting, and what was I trying to pull. I kept it cool. I asked her why she was allowed to be naked in my house, but I wasn't allowed to be naked in hers. Perhaps I was interested in being one with nature as well. When in Rome, right? And then that bitch slapped me.
Oh my god, this update is crazy.
She came at me with everything she had, which isn't much to be honest.
Her little gift farm.
Screaming that she knew what I was trying to do. That I was trying to seduce her son and make her look bad in front of him. That I was a sinner and leading her son down a path to ruin. And that I had no place in a godly family like hers. She said that I used my sexuality and body to steal her son away. And while her intentions were pure, mine were not.
Her intention to fuck her son?
Literally. After I recovered from the shock, I grabbed her hands and shoved her away from me. I was still in shock, to be honest, but all I really knew was that this bitch had put hands on me, and I was stuck in a cabin with her where there are guns and knives, and I needed to get the police on the phone. Now. I ran into my room to grab my phone and throw on a hoodie, when suddenly I heard my mother-in-law screaming that she couldn't do this anymore and rattling in the kitchen. Screams about how she'd rather go to heaven and watch over her son oh my god, than watch him be dragged down a path of sin with me. As soon as I heard that, I called 911 and reported my mother-in-law had attacked me and was expressing suicidal thoughts. I confirmed that I was safe after I locked myself in the bedroom and that she couldn't attack me anymore. Long story short, law enforcement arrived not even 4 minutes after my call, only to enter the house to find my mother-in-law in the kitchen, furiously pacing while clutching a knife. When the police questioned her about wanting to commit suicide, she responded that seeing that whore crawling all over her son drove her to this. The officers later told me that mother-in-law had made several cuts on her arms, which led mother-in-law to be taken away to a psych ward for a 72-hour hold. This was 3 weeks ago. It's been a fucking exhausting roller coaster. My DH doesn't blame me at all. He saw the bruises and scratching that his mother-in-law had given me. He has sworn to go no contact and refused to see mother-in-law. His younger sister has also reached out to me and written me to say that she doesn't blame me in the slightest for everything that's happened, and that it was only a matter of time before something like this happened. Okay. Brother-in-law, on the other hand, is blaming me for everything. He swears to everyone at his and mother-in-law's church that I'm responsible for hurting his mother, and that it is my fault I acted so shamefully in their vacation home. He's telling everyone that I'm basically a disgusting whore that stopped his brother from going to church and drove him away from mother-in-law, which led to her mental collapse. I've also gotten several nasty phone calls and text messages from him and crazy conservative friends / churchgoers about how I'll face the judgment of God over what I've done. Mother-in-law is out of the psych ward and has made persistent attempts to contact DH, to the point of going to his workplace. Apparently, she also tried to pick up my dog at doggy daycare earlier today, with brother-in-law in tow. I'm seriously going to look into solo therapy for myself after everything that's happened. I knew everything was insane from the jump, but I never, ever in a million years expected to go from 0 to 100 like this. I still want DH to get solo therapy as well, in addition to our group sessions. I honestly think we both need it. I believe my mother-in-law has harmed her family in ways that I don't even know about, and if DH is serious about recovering from her abuse, he needs to start working on himself too. So, there's the update. I feel exhausted just writing it. I'll update when I have more. I have a feeling I'll be looking into restraining orders next. I'm trying really hard just to focus on self-care and relaxing, but my anxiety is through the roof.
That's crazy. That's
insane.
That's actually crazy. She, first of all, first thing first, wants to fuck her son. Get that out of the way.
Yeah.
The whole vibe there.
Weird.
She's just jealous. She wants to fuck her son.
Weird, like,
She-
boy mom energy.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with being a mother to a son.
No,
But
but
this is weird.
yeah, it's like there's being a boy mom, and then there's being a mom to a boy.
Right.
Like, those are two separate things.
Right.
You be a weirdo, or you be a normal person.
Mm-hmm.
And this person, it definitely like built this relationship with her son, where she obviously was like, it's crazy, like how, and it happens so often, how like moms will literally like, it's, I mean, in Mesh Men, where they're like, oh, well, my husband sucked. You'll be better.
Right.
You'll be
Yeah.
better. I raised you right, so I get to reap the benefits. It's the same way like when you break up with a boyfriend,
Right.
and you're like, I did so much work on them.
I deserve to reap the
I should get the benefits, but now somebody else is going to get the benefits. And like, I feel like it's the same mentality from a mom. Like,
Totally.
oh, I raised him, and now this bitch, this whore, is
Right.
getting all the benefits from a boy that I raised.
Right.
And it's
Or
like,
who's also like, they're married.
yeah,
I'm sorry if you're like religious about it. They're literally married.
in God's house, like, isn't the whole thing like you're supposed
With
to be
your wife?
married? Yeah, you're supposed to be. You can't lay before marriage, but they are married
Right.
in their own house.
She doesn't like how they're laying.
She
It's
doesn't-
standing. That's too crazy.
Yeah, well, she might have been bent over a little bit, but yeah, they're still on two legs. But yeah, it's crazy that like she went into their room, woke them up in the like morning time, tits out, and then the son was like, "Hey, put your chits away, mom,
Right.
please. God, you're making me uncomfortable." And she was
Right.
just like, "La da da da. Yeah, you guys went to yeah, like
Yeah.
that's crazy." And she like. The OP did the right thing, like you said. Like, she went to the living room, she took her clothes off, she sat down on the couch. She's like, "What? I can be naked too."
What I've learned from the stories, I might have gotten stabbed sooner.
Yeah, straight up. She said,
straight up, it's like,
"I'm gonna kill you, and I'm gonna kill myself."
literally.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
She said, "I don't want my son sleeping with the likes of you, so you know
Yeah.
what? I'm gonna."
Yeah,
Sorry.
she was like, "Don't go play at this game." Okay, oh shit.
Yeah.
She's gonna kill me.
Yeah. Yup.
Yeah.
That's crazy, and I'm glad that that you're gonna go to therapy. I'm glad that you're gonna go to couples therapy, and I really hope that the husband goes to therapy
Because
because
hope he does too. It sounds like his mom was probably a lot growing up.
yup,
Is still a lot.
yup,
This instance alone is enough to go to therapy over.
yeah, that's traumatic.
Yeah.
Like, your wife almost got killed, dude, like by your mom. Of all people, not only did your wife almost get killed, but by your mom, your naked mom.
Right. This comment was like, I know this is really serious and an awful situation for you both, and I'm so sorry you're in this position. Saying that, I legit bark laughed at you fighting nakedness with nakedness. I'm not sure I would have had the lady balls. You're my naked hero.
Yep.
Yeah, all the comments are on her side. They're like, good for you for getting naked.
Yeah. I mean,
And
there's
like,
not,
also for calling the cops, because like,
oh my god, there's not really a side that you like. There, how would you be on any other side? Like, yeah, I support the mom.
yeah. Right. It's like, you know what? She should have been more naked in front of you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? She should have been walking in your bedroom in the middle of the night while you guys
Yep.
were like boinking in bed.
Me, as a mother, I've been naked all over your house.
I'm like, it's crazy. I don't know. I keep going back to like her walking in on them in the shower because I'm like, that's such a
Right.
vulnerable, like, there are
Like,
not
this
a lot of.
walk?
Yeah, well, I'm like, there's not a lot of positions in the shower you can do that don't expose
All of it.
everything.
Like praying that they had a shower curtain, but it's probably like one of those glass
showers. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I'm imagining. She like walked in and like she's got like one leg up on the soap dish.
It's like pressed up against the glass.
like that's like it gets really. You have to get really creative in the shower with
Yeah.
how you're standing. So like there's, yeah, she saw all the bits and bobs.
At which point you close the door and you leave. You don't like, well, I guess you better cover up, unlatch, and get dressed.
Yeah, open up the door.
Dry off.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
Oh no, your towels are gone.
Oh God! Oh my God! It's like with those kids that would like steal clothes off the beach when you wake up. Just all of them that get out of the shower, all of their clothes are gone. Every single clothes.
It's all being burned on the lawn.
Yeah, she's like outside naked on the lawn. Oh, I thought it was okay to be naked now, so I just burnt all of our clothes.
Could you imagine? That was actually step one.
Yeah. Honestly, at that point, I'd be like, okay. You know what?
And you
Fine.
know, here we are.
Yep, here we are. Are you gonna?
What am I gonna do? Like, stop the fire?
Yeah. Pick up my remnants that has 2 nipple holes because it's been charred. Like,
Green doors can do it. I can do it too.
right. Story 2. My mother-in-law DNA tested our daughter and told my husband that she isn't his. Trigger warning, mention of SA. My 45 female husband, 48 male, and I have been together for 25 years, and we have 3 kids, female 8, male 15, and female 17. My husband and I had a lot of trouble conceiving our daughter, and we went through several years with no luck and have seen a fertility doctor who had prescribed some medication to help with ovulation. We couldn't afford IVF, so we were going to try this last thing, then look into adoption. Well, long story short, I was SA'd during a burglary while my husband was out with his brother. It was right when I was to be ovulating. At the hospital, I took an EC even though I knew it would undo all the hard work and medication and mean we wouldn't be able to have a baby of our own, but I couldn't risk getting pregnant with my R-words baby. Well, after a few months, I've been feeling off, sick, down. I figured I was just depressed after the essay and I hadn't been eating, but I soon found out that I was pregnant. We were so excited until I went to my appointment and found out I was 15 weeks instead of 5 or 6 weeks like I thought I was. I had been having really irregular spotting and bleeding since the EC, so I didn't even imagine that I was that far along. My husband and I were devastated because that meant there was so much uncertainty surrounding the paternity. We had our ultrasound as soon as we saw the baby on the screen. I knew I couldn't have an abortion, and my husband didn't want to either. We talked and went back and forth about adoption and if the baby didn't end up being his or what we would do. And he said that he didn't care about the paternity and we just wouldn't find out. We decided to wait until our child was older to tell them and could decide if they wanted to find out themselves. I will also note at this point, my case was unsolved but had been linked to other essays and murders at the time. A few years ago, my R-word was caught and a year ago finally sentenced. At the hearing, I spoke and my daughter and my son knew about it and didn't go into details, but they knew I was attacked, but only knew it was before they were born. Last Christmas, my mother-in-law brought my daughter, and only my daughter, a 23andMe for Christmas. I thought it was extremely weird, but didn't think too much of it. Thinking back, I don't know why I didn't see it for what it was. My daughter was equally confused and asked if I wanted to do it instead. I'm adopted. I said sure and just gave my daughter an Amazon gift card for the price of the test. My daughter brought it to my attention that my mother-in-law has been overly critical of my daughter in the last few months, commenting on her differences, saying things like, I wonder where those eyes came from, hair, height. She even said to my daughter, I wonder why you're so skinny. My daughter looks exactly like me, same eye color, same hair color, and texture, but she's quite a bit taller than me. I'm 5'8" and she's 6 foot. I'm on the heavier side, and so is my husband, and my daughter is extremely thin, but she's also an athlete. I've never had any reason to believe from my looks alone that she's not my husband's daughter. After my daughter brought it to my attention how my mother-in-law was acting, I spoke with her, and she said, oh, she's just being sensitive. This was a couple of months ago. A couple nights ago, my mother-in-law invited my husband and I out to dinner and told us to leave the kids at home because she had something important to discuss with us. We went to a restaurant, and while we're eating, my mother-in-law hands me and my husband 2 separate envelopes. My husband and I look at the envelope and their DNA comparison results. I asked my mother-in-law what it was, and she said, proof that you're garbage, and I knew you always were. I was extremely confused. I asked whose DNA she compared, and as I said that I just knew, she said my husband's and my daughter. My husband looked at me, and he looked so hurt and lost. I'll never get that image out of my head for as long as I live. I called her a heartless cunt, and my husband and I left. I blocked her number from mine and on my kids' phones, but figured my husband needed to make that decision on his own. My husband told me last night my mother-in-law called him, and he stopped by after work at her house. She was telling my husband she's known for a while and suspected for a very long time, and she wasn't sure how to approach the topic with him. My husband asked how she knew that. She said that she overheard my brother-in-law talking to his wife and heard our daughter may not be his. My mother-in-law took that to mean that I cheated, so she did a DNA test. Last year, around the hearing, my husband got drunk and ended up mentioning the hearing and some details to my brother-in-law. Apparently that night while sleeping, he said, I couldn't protect her, and what if she's not mine? My husband was extremely drunk and did not remember doing this. My mother-in-law does not know that I was SA'd, but she does know that there was a break-in and I was attacked. She kept trying to convince my husband to leave me. My husband told her what she did was unforgivable, that he's going to cut her off. My husband is inconsolable. He's so upset, and he told his mother to fuck off, and then told her that my attack was actually an SA, and that's who our daughter's biological father was. It still makes me sick to say that. And she tried to apologize, but my husband told her he can't forgive her and not to contact any of us. I told everyone my mother-in-law DNA tested our daughter, and we were done with her. I have 7 siblings. 5 think I'm in the right, and the other 2, my brother-in-law, can't believe my mother-in-law did that, but understands why she did because she didn't have the entire story and assumed I wasn't being truthful to my husband. But even if I wasn't, I can't imagine being a parent so concerned with my child's relationship that I would go to those lengths to meddle. First of all,
There's a lot of layers. This is an onion. This is an onion of a story.
Super, super fucking awful.
Right.
That happened in the first place. Like, how traumatizing. First thing, to even go through that experience, to have somebody break into your home, break in alone, one of the most traumatizing things that can happen on top of being essayed with that. And then to have been going through all of these issues with conceiving and trying to have a baby, and to
That's when you conceive.
get pregnant from that, like, I like,
It's like, thank God for having an understanding partner in that scenario.
yes, exactly. And I'm like, props to OP and their husband for being able to like follow through with that, because like that must be so much to carry around, and like I'm glad that they were able to put that out of their mind when they look at their kid and be like, this is our kid. This is not a like a representation of what happened. This is not indicative of what happened to me. Like, it's not like a permanent reminder, because like I feel like that's where my mind would go.
Right.
You know, like
There's a lot of women who that is like, I totally get how that happens.
Mm-hmm.
I totally get how that happens.
Yeah, and you just feel like you can't look at your own kid because like it's a constant reminder of this incredibly traumatic part of your life, and for them to like overcome that and
be such good parents, I'm assuming, because of this post and how they like protect their kids, to be such a loving parent, mother and father, and like overcome all of these things, and then to have it held over your head
Right.
by somebody who is supposed to be your close family.
Right. Right. I do not blame them at all for how they reacted. I would have reacted the same, honestly. And like, I think with them saying, like, some of her siblings and her brother-in-law were like, she didn't have all the information. Yes, she didn't have all the information. And to a point, I understand going to bat for your kid if you think they're being wronged. However, there's multiple discussions that should have happened before it got to this point.
Mm-hmm.
You're going straight to the nuclear option instead of sitting your child down and having a conversation with them. You don't trust that they're going to... This is their decision to make. It's not your decision to make for them.
Exactly.
So go with that. Go to them with your grievances. Let them hear you. But whatever they decide is what they've decided.
Yeah.
And if she would have talked to him about it, she's not entitled to this information, but it wouldn't have turned out this way.
Exactly. And that kid's 8 years old. So it's like, this isn't new information.
Right.
Like, this mother-in-law has been around for 8 years. 8 years of opportunity has come and gone.
Right.
For you to sit down with your son and daughter-in-law.
Is it the 8-year-old or the 17-year-old?
I think it's the 8-year-old because it was the last time they were trying to conceive.
Gotcha.
But it's like you had all of these opportunities to talk to these people that are so embedded in your life and so close to you in your life. 8 years worth of time that you could have sat down and asked questions and been direct about it. And I think that's like the biggest thing is like to just be direct. But you didn't. You chose to be sneaky and chose to like go into all these like different back avenues and tried to be like, oh, here's a 23andMe. Oh, I'm gonna like how did she get the DNA to test the daughter? Like she had to do something sneaky to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And at another point, it's like, how dare you take that away from them?
Right.
Because like this whole time they've been trying to like cut that out of their mind. They've been trying to be like, it doesn't matter. We won't know for sure.
Right.
We will never know for sure if this is your assaulter's kid or
Right.
if it's my kid. We are not going to go that route because in reality, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. That's my kid. I
Right.
raised this kid. This is my kid. Doesn't matter where the genes came from.
Mm-hmm.
And for you, somebody who is completely unaffected by this,
Right.
to go in and take that away from them, how dare you?
Yeah.
Like, I would cut them off too. I would never, ever talk to them ever again. Because
No.
you ruined something
Right.
that was fine.
Right. There's so many steps that she could have taken before this that she didn't do. And instead it was just like trying to like pull a trump card and be like, I knew you were a philandering whore because I had to get one over on you.
Exactly.
And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, you're doing this so you feel like you pulled the wool over someone. Like,
Yeah,
you feel
you
better.
feel better about yourself. But guess what? You just destroyed an entire family.
Right.
Does that make you feel better?
Right.
Does that make you feel good?
Mhm.
Like, that's, yeah. I hope this mother-in-law chews on a bunch of glass and swallows it.
Much style.
Yeah. That's so sad. And this whole story just makes me so sad. I
It makes
didn't
me sick to my stomach, dude.
didn't even read the whole thing, and now I'm like, damn, why'd I put that in there? Because it's so sad.
But it is like a monster-in-law.
Yeah, it's a monster. It's a mother-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I should have
This comment-
mother-in-law or monster-in-law. Dang it.
It's like that J-Lo movie. This one says the brother-in-law can get bent too.
Yeah, honestly, like it doesn't matter if she had all the information or she didn't.
Right.
That's not the point. Like,
Go to your son and talk to him. Have a conversation.
use words.
Sit him down and
You're an
talk
adult.
to him.
Yeah,
Like,
use
hey,
words.
I've noticed some things. I could be looking too into it. And by having this conversation, I know I'm overstepping a boundary.
Yeah.
Just like go into it with what it is, but talk to him.
Also, why do you care that much?
Right.
Like, I'm sorry.
Does he love the child? Okay.
Yeah,
Whatever.
it's like if I saw a family and I saw a daughter that like didn't quite match the parents, my first thing would not be like, oh, well, the mom probably had an affair. Like, I'm not thinking that. I'm like, oh, genetics are crazy.
Genetics are crazy.
Genetics are so fucking crazy. Biologists, like, we can understand genetics to a point. Like, we understand recessive and dominant genes, but like, that shit sometimes does not compute. Like, it's the same reason,
Right.
like, both of my parents, like, have bright blue eyes. Like, my sister randomly has, like, green eyes. Why? Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows where that come from?
Punnett Square, man.
You know, like, it's little things like that. Like, I look like my dad. My sister looks exactly like my mom. Like, genetics don't work the way that you think that they're going to ever.
Right.
Like, it's not, you're not going to get a picturesque kid of like two adults. Like when people do the
Right,
like
perfectly merged together.
yeah, when people
no.
do those like, oh, what are our babies going to look like? And they like take the two pictures and they match them together. I'm like, that's not what your kid's going
Right.
to look like. You have no idea.
Right.
You have no idea until that little guy meets that little egg and it like, you know, does its little thing and the DNA starts to form. You don't know what genes are going to be inside of that DNA. So you have no idea what your baby's going to look like. And it's so unfair to assume that anyone, like when I was born, my mom thought I was Hispanic. My dad thought that my mom had
I remember you saying that, yeah.
my dad thought that my mom had an affair because I came out of the womb, dark brown eyes, dark, thick hair,
Yeah.
dark skin.
Yeah. How the turntable.
Bright blue eyes, light brown hair, and the palest skin that you've ever seen. And like that's completely contrarian to what I was born with. And like my dad could have nuked their entire relationship just off the get-go
Right.
without knowing.
Right.
And now I look just like him. So it's like you never know, and it's like it's just so insane that
Right.
a mother-in-law completely separated from the entire situation would come in and try to meddle in that situation.
Right. And I could just like hear her now being like, my mama bear instinct. I'm like, okay, have a conversation with him. Your mama bear instinct, you're still a human. Have a conversation with him.
Yep.
Slow down, talk with him.
Yep.
Like,
All adults. Yeah. And then you
yeah.
literally
Ask some questions.
yeah, it's like there's a way to go about it if they didn't want to divulge that information because like SA is a very sensitive topic.
Totally.
And it's like it's really hard to talk about. And maybe OP like didn't want to talk about it and didn't
Right.
want to tell OP, which is
And she's
We're-
the mother-in-law's not entitled to that information.
not entitled at all. All she needs to know is like, hey, maybe it is his kid, maybe it's not. We don't know.
Right.
Something happened. That's all you need to know. We're happy. I didn't cheat on him.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Don't even
Conversation
know.
done. We're
Yep.
not talking about it.
Done.
Leave it.
Yep. Don't ever touch it again, or you will be cut off.
Yeah.
That's all it needed to be. But instead, it had to be this whole rigmarole of
Right. And like her like pouring out the envelopes and like doing like a very dramatic.
what are we in
Law
Law Order
Strange.
SVU? Like,
Yeah.
holy shit!
You are not the father.
Yeah.
Literally.
Ooh, I'm on. It's the whole Chili's starts freaking out.
Literally me sitting at the table like across from them, I'd be like, did you just hear that?
Yeah.
She said he's not the father. That's crazy.
And then she just got her a gun and they left.
Let's get another round of triple divorce. This actually is crazy.
What else are we gonna see here tonight? I feel gone.
God, this is Chili's.
Yeah. Anyway, that one's really sad.
Oh my
Let's
god.
move on to the next one.
Story 3. My mother-in-law is driving me crazy. Hi all, me, female 24, and my husband, male 24, have been married for a little more than 2 years and together for 4. We were long distance for the majority of our relationship. We would stay at each other's parents' house when we would visit, and when I finally moved to the U.S., when visa processes were over, we lived with his parents for 3 months.
Is this a 90-day fiance thing?
I think it is. I love 90 Day Fiancé.
I'm immediately
I walked in.
of the what is it? Oh my god, I can't think of her name. I follow them on TikTok, but she's a girl from the Ukraine and he's a guy from I think Louisiana, and like he's a big mama's boy, and that was like a huge thing. Oh my god, it was like one of the earlier seasons. Oh, I'll have to remember, but anyway,
When I look back at those times when we lived with them, I wonder how I was able to do it. I was certainly depressed. Sometimes I would just stay in bed until my husband got home. We lived in a mother-in-law suite next to his parents' house, but it was more of an extension with their house since the only thing separating it was that's the right word. The only thing separating it was an aisle. His mother is overbearing and a controlling person. We would have dinner with them every single night. Sometimes, if my husband was at college, they would still ask me to have dinner with them. And if we decided to have dinner by ourselves, it would be a big deal. We would have to let them know ahead of time, and if we went out with our friends, we would have to let them know. One time she got mad because she didn't know and she'd already planned dinner for us. One time I went out with my husband's cousin's girlfriend, and his mom threw snarky comments about how dinner that night was really good. These mashed potatoes were really good.
I got these really nice steaks. They were well done.
Never had a mashed potato like this. Apart from that, she'd always push us to help her with activities at the church. My husband had to help with mowing the lawn, installing the bird feeder, etc. She wouldn't like it if we went to a Catholic church, my church, instead of hers, which is Moravian. Oh, she'd complain about how I kept the apartment clean, saying that I wouldn't ever clean the bathroom, ask my husband to share his location. I could keep going. She's the type of person that is two-faced. Lots of people would think she's very sweet and she's always smiling and will treat my husband like a king. But all these things she does very well where I can go unnoticed. She only talks about herself. She'll cry over things that happened years ago, cry about her son becoming an Eagle Scout years ago, cry when we're going to visit family. He's like 42 and he's an Eagle Scout.
I'm like, I also cry over everything though, so.
In the present, I told my husband I couldn't live with them anymore. We got a house and we live together now, alone with a puppy. But managing the relationship with her is still hard because she's still his mother. We invited her over for lunch yesterday, and of course, certain things happened. I was getting food ready, and my husband asked me what else he could do to help, and I said, "Oh, go get the beet salad from the fridge," with a certain fun tone. My mother-in-law repeated the tone and said, "Please," insinuating that I didn't say please to my husband. She also brought stuff to our new place, stuff that was ours or stuff that she wanted us to have, and she decided to bring a sign that my husband used to have in his bathroom when he lived with them that says, "I'm not your friend, I'm your parent. I will stalk you, flip out on you, lecture you, drive you insane, be your worst nightmare, and hunt you down when you need it because I love you. When you understand that I will know you're a responsible adult. You will never find someone who loves, prays, cares, and worries about you more than me. This is my promise to you."
That's
insane.
That's literally like
Yo.
an abusive relationship. Like, I only do all this because I love you.
And gentle reminder of all the ways I'm going to abuse you. Because I love you, babe.
Because I love you. And that's a parent. And when you're an adult, you'll understand.
The sign is creepy and I've always hated it. And I can't believe she brought this to our house. Even though I want to cuss this woman out, cut ties, I can't, and I need to be smart about handling the situation. She knows how to play it nice and trick everyone. If I make my anger known, it'll only make me the bad guy, and it'll make my husband think that I just hate his parents. I'm convinced that she's not mentally okay. She's toxic and needs boundaries. She gives off narcissistic vibes too. I'm planning on talking to a therapist about this. My therapist and our couples therapist, because it's too much, because she gives me a lot of stress and anger. She recently invited us to a beach trip at the end of July, a beach trip she'd do with him and his dad every year to the same place. I'm not sure how I feel about this because I don't want to follow her same traditions. I want to break this pattern, but I don't want to look like the bad guy. How do I handle this situation? I don't want my husband to think that it's not okay to go on a vacation with his family, but it's okay to go on a vacation with mine. We're taking 4 days of PTO to visit my family, but that's different because they live in another country, and this is the only time I'll see them this year. But the difference is my family is not crazy. I don't want to use my PTO on this moment. And that is said like someone working in America. I don't want to use my PTO on this moment.
I'm very selective about my PTO. I only have 12 days. So,
right. And then what is your job? Do you have a work emergency?
Yeah. I would personally, from like this is me coming from a
my old mother-in-law, I'm trying to think about the way to say this. She was not the worst, not the best, but she was very like my son, you know, like that kind. And there were times where I was like, I don't want to do this because it's going to make me feel this way, or like it's just going to be like uncomfortable, or yada yada yada. Lie. First thing.
And
Lie. But also it is okay to set a boundary with your husband, like having a full, I mean, if you like, you guys have been together for 4 years, you love each other, like you built a strong foundation. I'm assuming you guys are in couples counseling, so that's good.
right.
But having this open dialogue with your husband, like, hey, I don't feel comfortable being on a trip with your mom and dad for this prolonged amount of time. Your mom kind of like can make me feel a little uncomfortable, a little tense. Like we've talked about this before. And I don't know if I feel the most comfortable going on a vacation with them. If you would like to,
Right.
feel free. I know that would be really nostalgic for you. You used to do this all the time.
Right.
I would love for you to enjoy that time with your family.
It's like, have this be like a close family thing, a very nostalgic thing.
Yeah.
I'll catch you for the holidays.
Yeah.
We
can have another
this is a
time.
family trip.
Yeah. But I just don't think I would be comfortable, and I don't think I'd have a good time. And it's nothing against like your dad. You know, like
Yeah, like nothing against your dad.
it's nothing, but I just don't think I'd feel the most comfortable being in this position with your mom. And that's okay.
Right.
And it should be okay.
It should be okay.
to have that open dialogue with your partner. Like, if Quentin came to me after the week that we just had and said, hey, I don't think I want to go see your dad or your stepmom again, I'd be like, heard.
Yeah.
I don't either. You know, like, that's like there has to be an open dialogue and some sort of understanding and a certain amount of empathy
Right.
in there.
Yeah. Honesty with your partner, lie to the parents, honestly.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be. Hey, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm such a ditz. I totally forgot that I had this big project coming out at work, and I really have to get it done. I have to lock in. But you guys, I know how important this is for you as a mom. And
You
I
could
know,
spend quality time together.
yes, I know you want to spend some quality time with your son. So please, please go have this trip together. It would mean a lot to me. I would be so ecstatic.
Right.
If you could take your son to have this trip and have this time together.
Right.
You know, and maybe that might be good for them.
Right. And icing on the cake. Let's grab lunch after so I can hear all about your trip.
Yes.
You don't have to, but it really seals the deal.
Yeah.
No harm, no foul. Spend time with your son.
Yeah.
That's what you want. I feel like that's why she's lashing out.
Exactly.
Spend time with your son.
She wants her son. Have him.
But she doesn't want it. She doesn't want her there anyway.
No, yeah.
So-
She obviously is like territorial, so it's like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Have your territory.
Yeah. You can pee on the vacation home. I will not be going to it.
Yeah. Raise your leg all you want to. I'll be at our apartment with our little puppy.
Right. Just keep your top on.
Yeah. That's all we ask. Story 4. Cut off mother-in-law finally. So, context. I, 28 female, I'm married to my husband, 30 male. His mother and I already had a good relationship up until I got pregnant. First, it started off with my mother-in-law having a problem with my mom. My mother-in-law claimed that my mother called her spoiled. I know for a fact that she did not because I was with both of them the entire time that my mother was visiting. Also, my mother-in-law didn't bring this up until a whole month after my mom left. Conveniently, a couple days after I found out I was pregnant. Second, she started criticizing the way I do things around the house while I was pregnant. Some examples are when I would do the dishes, she would not put them up, or I would sweep and vacuum the house but not mop. I had a very hard pregnancy. HG.
Homegrown. I don't know.
Homegirl.
I need homegirl. I need a serve. No.
I don't know. HG, I needed a cervical stitch, bleeding, heartburn, numbness, the works. I almost died twice during the pregnancy, once because of bleeding, and the second during birth itself. Absolutely lost her shit when she lost her keratin powder, blaming me when I didn't touch it. And for those asking, my first husband did believe her at first, but as time has gone on, he's seen her for who she really is. Constantly, she was saying that my baby was a boy while I was pregnant, And when she found out the baby was a girl, she started saying my daughter is her second chance daughter. Hers is no contact. After that, my friend usually comes over 2 days a week to help me around the house, hang out and cook. She was telling my friend that she got a heart attack. She didn't, because she's not getting rest. Because when she's done with work, she has to come home and take care of the baby. Keep in mind, every time she came home, she would ask to spend time with the baby. When she was confronted, she threw a whole temper tantrum, throwing things, slamming doors, rushing to hit me. Husband was holding the baby, and that earned her a time out for a month. We live together, so we can't avoid each other fully. Husband was standing his ground. However, she came crying to me, and I felt sorry for her. Yes, I know, stupid me. For the first 9 weeks, the baby was miserable, constantly crying, in pain, wasn't sleeping. My husband and I were running on no sleep whatsoever. My mother-in-law would waltz in around 3 or 4 in the morning on a full night's rest after the baby was already exhausted and put her down. She would then tell me when the husband wasn't around that my husband was the same and never wanted to sleep with her or around her as a baby. Turns out, baby has CMPA, cow's milk protein allergy. Since we got her on a specialized formula, she's been a dream. She's also been racist to me. They're Hispanic and I'm West Indian. Sorry, the context was so long, but on to the point now. We only had 3 rules when the baby was born. No one kisses her but my husband and myself. Everyone must be vaccinated. And do not post the baby. Husband and I don't even post her. Well, she posted her and apparently has been posting her ever since she was born. I have my mother-in-law blocked because of her temper tantrums, but I genuinely thought my husband has had her on this. So I never paid it any mind, but recently I started noticing that she's taking more photos and videos of the baby. Recently, I asked him if his mom is posting her and he hasn't told me. That's when he said he hasn't seen her account in a while. She posts every day, so that's weird. When he looked her up, it turns out he's blocked. I asked a friend just to check, and lo and behold, she's been posting her every day on her Instagram. At first, we reminded her we don't want her posting her. Today, we took the baby to the aquarium, so as I was getting everything ready for the baby, and she was in her bouncer, she came into the room and was talking, cooing, and whatever with the baby. I happened to notice that the IG was open and the video was playing, recorded but not posted. I showed it to husband and he told her, do not post the baby. She was like, no, I just use it to take photos. When my friend checked her IG, guess what my daughter's posted. I about lost my shit on the way to the aquarium. Husband called her and let her have it and told her, don't even look in our baby girl's direction. I'm honestly relieved. Being around this woman is like being around a ticking time bomb, and I'm sick and fed up of her. I have tried to be nice. I've tried to be caring, supportive, even used to make all of her appointments and go with her. She claims she doesn't speak/understand much English, but she does. She just pretends to be stupid, but it wasn't enough, and I'm done.
Again, in this scenario, we're like, I'm glad your husband fucking listened to you.
Yeah.
Because this could be one of those situations where he's like, my mother's a saint.
Yeah.
Don't you
She
dare.
don't do anything.
No one looks at her Instagram anyway.
Yeah, you're the one who made the rule that we couldn't post her, not me. And it's like,
right.
boy, we talked
Just
about this.
ignore it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm glad that both parents are sticking to their guns on this.
Yeah. But now it's like, what can be done? You know, like,
Right.
she's been posting. How are you going to get her to, like, are you going to get her to remove everything? Like, or
Right.
what is...
What's the next step?
Yeah, because she obviously, you've told her no many times before and she keeps doing it.
Right.
And she thinks that she's getting away with it because she's blocking you.
Mm-hmm.
So now what?
Yeah, she obviously does not respect boundaries.
Yeah. So let's go into the second update. Buckle up! Unhinged mother-in-law continued. So I posted before about my mother-in-law basically trying to make my daughter, her daughter, etc. Husband and I moved into our new home with our baby and everything was peaceful. Mother-in-law didn't have our new address and we were at peace until my husband got served at his job. That's right. She was taking us to court. Not for grandparents' right for visitation, but for custody, claiming that she solely was taking care of our baby girl. Fast forward, we're in court. There are several things wrong with her case. She sued for custody of Lily. guess what? We don't have a child with that name because she never learned our baby girl's actual legal name.
Shut up.
The judge could have thrown it out then and there, but I guess they wanted to humor her. I don't know. She claimed she buys Lily's formula. I'm a WIC recipient because baby's on a specialized formula that costs $40 for a 12-ounce can. She claimed that I always leave Lily in her care and go out. Our previous home was surrounded by cameras, so we asked our old landlord for footage that shows I never did. If I did leave the house, it was to take the baby on walks with me. She claimed the baby sleeps with her and she couldn't describe her bedtime routine. She didn't know the names of the specialized formula, how much she has at a feeding, how many hours apart her feedings are, or even what size diapers the baby wears. All things you should know if you're caring for a child. She claimed that I was delusional and mentally unstable, but I also had video and audio proof of her throwing adult versions of temper tantrums on multiple occasions. All in all, mother-in-law made herself look like an ass. And it was recommended that we get a restraining order because she's unhinged. The gall to go to court and be like, "And I take care of that baby," and the judge is like, "All right, what does the baby eat?"
First off, what's the baby's name?
Yeah.
What's the baby's name? Hard question. What's the baby's name?
Can you tell me the baby's birthday?
She's like, no, I've decided the baby's name is Lily. I changed it.
I like Lily. I changed it mentally. I agree. What size diaper does it wear?
Pampers. Probably.
A diaper. And actually, no, it's potty trained.
Yeah.
The judge was like, this baby's 6 months old.
The baby's currently wearing a diaper.
Yeah, I have no idea. Okay, how often does the baby eat? Oh, I don't know. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
Every day.
Yeah, obviously.
Duh.
Sometimes it's all hungry. It's really watching his calories. What the hell? And that judge was absolutely just like, I have nothing better to do.
Right. It's like, come on, waste my time.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I actually have a really hard case after this I don't want to deal with.
I need a fucking break.
I need a break.
This was helpful.
Yeah.
And just imagine Judy up there. Like, okay.
Yeah. Straight out of Judge Judy. Like, all right. Last update.
Okay.
So, apparently, my mother-in-law has been arrested. And ironically and funnily enough, it had nothing to do with us. After the whole police shenanigans, it was quiet. A little too quiet for me, but I digress. Last night, my husband's aunt called him hysterically laughing to tell him that his mother has been arrested. We don't know the details. Well, everyone is getting a different story. For example, she called one sister and said XYZ happened, and then another saying ABC happened, so nobody really knows the truth. All we know is that it has something to do with her ex-boyfriend. I also quoted ex-boyfriend because the same week we moved, she snuck him into our old place, and yes, I say boyfriend because she started dating him when he was 19 and she was 38. He also grew up around my ex, so she knew him as a child. So, from what she told the sister, she saw him with another girl, someone younger but not prettier, and lost it. She was vague here, so I don't know what she did, but it was warranted enough to be arrested. My husband's aunt told him if he bails her out, he has no intention of it, she'll personally pull up and beat him. She said it's time she learned accountability for her actions and have consequences because apparently she lived 50 years without a reality check. Our restraining order has also been approved, but it does look like she's facing jail time and being committed. Maybe a couple of years. So at least we can get some peace.
Yay! I want to know that if the new girlfriend was prettier, she'd be like, okay.
Yeah, she's not prettier.
She's
So I
younger and prettier. She's
Yeah.
younger, not prettier?
Nah, I gotta beat her ass. Yep.
That girl. That's
crazy.
insane.
She straight up is trying. Again, enmeshment. She's like, I need to find somebody that looks like my son and
That's
is old
so
as my son.
weird. That's so weird.
Yep. She's just play
I
pretending.
I'm so nervous to like meet someone and then meet their mother.
Yeah, I feel like it's better to do it sooner than later.
Yeah.
Like I met his mom and his stepdad like 2 months after we started dating, like very quickly after. And because like that's a big thing for me with like with the parents that I have.
Yeah.
I don't want to say like rely on my partner to have like stable parents, but I do also
really nice to have
it's
that.
important to have some sort of stability.
Yes.
Because like I'm like I don't have a whole lot of stability. Like my mom's cool, but like it didn't used to be that way. You know?
Right.
But like my dad and my stepmom like not cool.
Mm.
So having some sort of structure and having somebody that's like, you know, all there in the head is really important to me. And it's like it wouldn't be a deal breaker, but it would be a big point of contention, you know?
Right.
So it's for me it's important to like meet the family like very, very early on.
I totally agree with that. Because
Yeah.
I think my family dynamic onion is not as layered as yours, but it's still layered. So that's also something I'm like, what's your relationship with your family? Because I really need to know what this dynamic is. There's
Yeah.
certain dynamics that I cannot handle.
Yeah, you don't want to add more strife onto it.
Right.
Like
I was
there's
like, my nerves are shot. I cannot handle it. You're great.
Yeah.
I can't.
yeah,
So-
and it's like it opens up a whole new layer and like a whole new dynamic for a relationship, especially like going back to like my relationship with my ex and his like parents and stuff. Like he was very close to his parents, and that meant like if there was any negativity between me and his parents, like it was not, hey, I have your back. It was, hey, I have my parents' back,
Right.
and you're the bitch.
Yeah.
Like kind of thing. So it was like I couldn't have any issues because there was nobody that was going to back me besides me.
Right.
And I'm alone fighting against 6 other people, you know, like
Right.
big family. So it's very important to have like some sort of, and even if it's not like the best dynamic, just having an understanding of that early on.
Right.
So that way you can be like, this is what I'm stepping into.
Right.
You're making in like an educated
Fully
decision.
conscious choice. And also that they can make a fully conscious choice stepping into what my dynamic is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because it's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not a
That-
little
that's-
bit.
But I felt like bringing him into like last week, I was like, this will not happen again. Like, you have my word. This will not happen again. We will not be here ever again.
Yeah.
Because not only do I know that it's stressful for me, but it's stressful for you coming into this, like, not understanding the full dynamic. Like, my dad's not been around, you know? Like,
Right.
he's not a part of my life. So it's like, you're not, like, fully up to date on the dynamic of, and, like, you weren't around when I was a kid, so you, like, don't understand all of that backstory. So I can't imagine, like, walking in to this scenario unannounced and you're like, whoa, yeah. Hey,
So
it's dangerous. Yeah. Beep, boop, beep. Yeah.
I don't need a computer.
Yep. So I'm very grateful to have the in-laws that I do have.
Yeah.
They're fantastic and make me have hope for other people who have in-laws because they do exist. Like
Yeah.
good parents.
There's a lot of good in-laws out there.
Yeah, there are
Yeah.
so many good in-laws, but there are also a lot of bad ones. Like Sarah and I were talking about this, like specifically with fathers.
Yeah.
But she was like, I can think of 2 dads out of like the 20 people that are in our friend group that are good dads.
Gotcha.
And I was like, that's so true. That's so true. And that's so sad. That's so sad. But yeah, it definitely does. Like when it comes down to boy moms specifically, like you have to be really careful.
It's a very strange and intense dynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I'm not trying to steal your son away from you. I'm not trying to be his mother. I don't want to be his
I don't want to be his mom. I want to be his
I want to be his
partner.
partner.
Yeah, I'm his life partner. I'm
I
not.
do not want to raise
Nope.
a grown man.
Nope. Didn't sign up for that.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I'll leave that to you, lady.
Yeah. Well, clearly you could have done better. So, how do these fully compare to like what you experienced?
I would say that our week comparatively was quite tame.
Well, that's good. You won't have to deal with a mother-in-law, so that's not too bad.
True, but you know what you have to deal with? Us. Keep liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. Make sure you follow us on social media. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Reddit, all of that fun stuff. You can find us everywhere at _the pod. You can also send stories to us if you don't want to post them on Reddit. You can email us at whatwasthat.thepod@gmail.com.
With that being said, maybe we should do a stepmother's theme soon.
Oh, I can pull so many traumatic memories for that. Like one time, wait, what was that?